Hello and welcome to Authentic Conversations Emoji. And I know I'm very late, so please, I beg you, forgive me. It's been one of those mornings, and I tell you, oh my Jesus, what a morning I'm having. How are you guys? While we're waiting for people to come in, take your time, grab a cup of coffee, get a notepad, whatever it is that you need to do. This is going to be one of those conversations that are raw, authentic, and absolutely factual. Nothing is made up here. So hang in there with me for a second and I'll be right back. Hello and welcome. And yes, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Oops. Actually, I don't have a weekend. I cannot work 7 days a week. I do what I want to do. Thank God. How are you guys? Oh my God, who's on here? Say hello. Say how are you? Tell me what you're doing. Hey, Lisa Love. Hello, Olufusola. How are you? And thank you for joining me. Time is the most precious thing we can give anybody. So thank you for giving me time. It's priceless because we can't buy it, right? Anyways, how are you guys doing? It's Friday. I'm very excited that we all made it with all the jabujantis that's going on in the world, right? Thank God we're all alive. And I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, or even an atheist. I'm grateful that you're alive. So sit back, get a notepad, and please join the conversation, because authentic conversation with Moji is not just about me. Everything I tell you, I'm not a financial expert. Everything I talk about is things that I've either lived through or I've done research on. So if I say something that's wrong, feel free to say, hey, Moji, I don't think so. These are my opinions. They're not etched in, is it gold? Yeah, not blood, because these days, blood is thicker than water, but we all know that you can't drink blood, right? Shuku to all of you guys for joining me today. Hold on a second while I share the video to my page, because it's not on my public page. Just bear with me 1 second while I do that. This is going to be fun. We're talking about finance and relationship, money. Let's be clear, money and relationships, because people always go, oh no, it's not about the money, it's the love. Honey, if love is all we need to make a relationship work, right? None of us will be divorced, none of us will be separated, but we need a lot more to happen in relationships. We need so much more in relationships to make sure that the ship is flowing. One of the biggest things that's broken relationships is money, right? Money. That's one of the things that's broken marriages and friendships and love ships and all of those ships, And hold on 1 second for me. I'm just going to post this. To comment, if you're on my public page, you must come to the public. If you're on my private page to comment, you have to be on the public page. So Lisa Love, I know you're there. I see you, Olufisola. I like that name. It's kind of special. Anyways, come to the public page because I won't see it otherwise. So let's talk about money. Growing up, my dad used to tell me money is so, don't talk about money. Money is not sexy. Money is this, money is that. So I grew up believing, I didn't even talk about money with anybody except for this relationship. Let me tell you, the reason why I say money is very important is because I lost a lot of money when I decided to come out of the closet. I had to I signed away 8 houses to my ex-husband in exchange for full custody of the children. I bought a house with my ex-husband's name for lots of reasons that I can't even begin to tell you. I don't want to tell you. You're going to have to wait for my book. But I bought a house in my ex-husband's name. And when it was time to get a divorce, he sold the house from underneath me and the children. I didn't even realize it. And I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for almost over 30 years, believe it or not. So it's important that we talk about money when we go into relationship. It's important that we figure out how important money is to us. Because let me tell you, money is not allegedly important, but honey, it's very important. It affords you a lot of stuff. And as you get older, you want to make sure that you have financial planning in place. What am I talking about? What do I mean by that? Let me tell you, when you're dating somebody in America, one of the things they tell you is, make sure you know what their credit score is. Make sure you know what their FICO score is. FICO score in America determines everything. Your insurance rate depends on your FICO score. Your phone You can't even get a phone without good credit, or else they make you give a deposit. Your cars, you can't buy a car, you can't buy a house, you can't buy Jack. So you have to talk about the basic things when you're getting with a person. And, you know, in Moji's world, disclosure is very important. It's very important that you tell your partner, or now so-called partner, or somebody you're looking at to be your partner. I'm not saying if somebody has bad credit, you're not going to date them. But let me tell you, I had somebody tell me when I had bad credit that they couldn't date people with bad credit. Shuku to them. It's like somebody saying, I'm not dating you because you're short. It doesn't mean that they're money, they have a phobia towards money or whatever. It just means they're smart. If you know that money is what, I call people money sexuals. Let's talk about the different sexualities in Moji's world. On Authentic Conversation, we know we have money sexuals, we have bisexuals, we have homosexuals, we have heterosexuals, we have green card sexuals. And then we have anything kind of sexual, which means it doesn't matter, right? So if you think about money in relationships, many people don't talk about money. Many wives don't know what their husbands make. Many wives don't know where the houses are. They don't know where the homes are. They don't know where the stock is. They don't know where anything is, because they allow, and this goes for mainly women, because, you know, patriarchy and misogyny has created a world where the men rule. But nowadays, we make our own money, right? We make our own money. I was so dense at one point in my life that I would get a check, 18,000, 20,000, name it, and just hand it to my ex-husband. Because why? Because I thought that's not the way the world is. Okay, so I'm 55. Talk about being stupid. Yeah, guilty. I own it. That's why I do a lot of research these days. That's why I read, because I've been there. I went from living in a 3,000 plus square foot house with 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, full finished basement, full finished attic, to being homeless in less than 48 hours one time. Living in a room with 4 kids. So being there, done that. And it took me many, many years to get back up before I even met my wife. So people are running around saying, oh, I want to be Cinderella. I just want to meet somebody that's fabulous. Honey, you got to bring something to the table more than your sushi. So you have to have your finances in check. You should start checking before you decide you're dating material to anybody, because you don't want to go and hang your life on somebody's neck and choke them to death, right? You want to be sure that you already are working on your finances while you're single. Single parents, we tend to not pay attention to small details. Your credit is jacked up. I filed bankruptcy because I used to own a restaurant, $160,000 in debt from equipment and such like that. So I filed bankruptcy. But I made a point of letting everybody I was dating know, I filed bankruptcy. You can't buy coffee across the street with my credit at one point. Now I'm close to 800. Whoop, whoop, shuku to me. When people ask them what they're, I'm a certified life coach, which means I got training. I'm not one of those people that just put life coach on their thing because I bumped my head once, so now I'm a life coach. No, I went through a lot of training. I went through life coaching myself. I had a life coach, I had a therapist and all that stuff to be able to become who I am today. So ask me questions. Please don't just let me blabber like crazy. So the first thing, I even made notes for you guys. My God, I'm beginning to feel like I'm Daily Momodu myself. So anyways, the first thing is, before you even get into the relationship, you guys need to talk about certain things. You know, the same way I said, you have to talk about how many children do you want? Do you even want children? Remember in the 3 other shows we did about relationships this month. Today's the 31st. So this is the last of the series of the relationships. If you've never watched any of the series, you need to go back and start from 1, catch up with us. So we talked about finding yourself after you let go of a bad relationship, a bad marriage. We talked about letting go, which means creating space for a new person. We talk about blended families in case you have children, how to move forward. Now we're talking about what? We're talking about money, because money is very important. Now, most of us, when we meet a person, we ask them, what do you do? How do you do? What is your religion? Shuku to us all, because now we know better. Because at my age, when you're 20, some things don't matter to you. But let me tell you, you need to start working on your future in your 20s, not when you're 55. Everybody's not lucky to start over like I did at the age of 50 something. So while you're in your young years is when you need to stand firm. I don't believe anybody should personally, this is not written down anywhere, I don't believe anybody should get married until they know who they are, so they can figure out who will match them, right? So your financial status, you should know. You should know your FICO score, your credit rating. You should know that. And you should know where you want to go in the future. The reason I say that is because if you want to go to Paris when you're 50 and you're in a relationship with somebody that wants to end up in Dubai when they're 50, you already have a problem. So if you know you want to move to France when you're in your 50s, you have to start doing the work now, whatever age you are, because that's your goal. Financial status is very important to discuss with a new partner. You need to know what FICO score your partner has. The reason I say that is because if you're looking to buy a house in America, you need credit and you need money. If you start dating, if you know that you want to invest in a portfolio and you're dating somebody that spends all their money on jewelry or shoes or bags, you already know you have a problem, because what's going to happen? You can't take your shoes and your bag and build a house with it. Even when you buy Louis Vuitton for $5,000, once you take it off the rack, it's like a car. The value depreciates. It absolutely does not hold value unless you're buying collectibles like the Karl Lagerfeld or the Chanels from like 19 Bogboro. It takes a long time for fashion, shoes and handbags to become anything of value. So you want to make sure that you disclose to your partner where you stand. I'm very frugal now. Before I wasn't. Before I was shopping at Barney's and Saks Fifth Avenue and all of that. It was my Jewish accountant's wife that said, why do you do this? Why don't you go to the thrift stores and, this and that? They carry brand new things that are donated by wealthy people. And some of them are brand new. You just go there. Why are you paying full price? Or you go to the outlets. Really? So now I won't buy anything unless it's on sale, like seriously discounted and such, because I have a goal for my life. I like big houses. I like to invest in houses. I like to do things that you need money to do, like all that stuff. So you have to have a financial plan and a goal of where you're going. Important. It's very sorry. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi today, but it's very, very important that everybody knows where they're going, because if you don't know where you're going, you're just going to be stumbling in the world, not doing the right things, not focusing on what should be done and things like that. So for women, I'll give 3 things for women. We'll talk about 3 things for women. Disclosure. Make sure that you're not buying face. What do I mean by buying face? Make sure that when you meet a guy, you're not jumping up and down because the guy has money, because he's driving a fancy car, because he's living in Gucci and Armani and Versace. Make sure you ask him where the funds are coming from. Make sure you know what these people do for a living. You don't want to end up with a hush puppy, or you don't want to end up with somebody that wears all their money. I remember talking to a friend of mine once, and she's dating this guy that's very popular in Nigeria. And I said to her, have you asked what his portfolio looks like? This was after they've been dating for 2 years. And they're talking about marriage. I said, have you asked him about his portfolio? She goes, Louis Vuitton. Oh, he has Louis Vuitton suitcases. I'm like, what do you mean Louis Vuitton suitcases? No, I'm not talking about his portmanteau. I'm talking about where is his money invested? Is it in stocks? Is it in bonds? Is it in suitcases? A smart person, in my opinion, knows to do all 3: real estate, stocks, and bonds, and whatever businesses. Look, Rich Man, Poor Man, or something like that. Poor Dad, or something like that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You got to read that book. I'll post it. It's a book that talks about how you have to have 10 streams of income. 10 streams of income. Doesn't mean it will all be there, but the ideal thing is to have more than one stream of income, so that if you have money in real estate and real estate market crashes today, you don't fall like a lot of us did in 2008. Like a lot of us lost our shirts because all our money was in real estate. Now, you don't want to put all your money in stock either, in my opinion, because when the market goes up and down, it always does. So you need to be able to be cushioned and not panic. You need to have conversation with your partners, gay, straight, trisexual, any kind of sexual out there. You must have this honest, heartfelt conversations about money, because people will tell you, oh, you're a money sexual. It's okay. The monisexuals are only attracted to money. You're attracted to your partner, but you want to make sure you have a good future, especially if you're an American citizen. In America, the older you get, the less value they put on you. My children already told me they're putting me in a nursing home. So my wife and I are already trying to figure out a plan where our money makes money for us when we get older, right? We have something called the durable power of attorney, which means if anything happens to me, my wife has the right to make the decisions for me while I'm alive. And when I die, we also have a will, which you should have, right? You should talk about the will. You should talk about the durable power of attorney, right? With your partner before you get married. And some partners, they tell you, oh, your money is your money. My money is my money. If you're okay with that, shuku to you. If you're okay with that, I repeat again, shuku to you. Whatever floats your boat is what you should do. Make sure that you custom make your relationship. For me, money is not everything, but money is the reason why my wife and I can jump on a plane and go to, name it, wherever. We don't do Dubai because they don't like gay people, but money is the reason why we're able to go to places that are exotic. We went for my birthday one year. My wife surprised me, took me to Brazil. We went and jumped over a 5,000 feet mountain. You need money for those things. So money helps you to prioritize what is important to you in your life. Me, I love to live. I love to live. I don't go fancy places. I don't eat. I don't I don't go to parties and spray people because I put money in an envelope and give it to people. Yeah, I buy them presents and things like that. But honey, I'm not doing any of these batty things that don't bring any return. I'm a realtor. I love doing flips. When I met my wife, I told her exactly who I am. And she studied me also to learn things that I didn't know about her. You guys need to do that. Keep your eyes open. Don't go by people's words. Actions, if they don't match the words, then they don't knock. If Bobo is saying he has money, and all he does is spend money, bow. You have to ask him how he's making his money. I'm not saying people shouldn't spend their money any which way they want to. I'm saying make sure that you are equally yoked and you're going in the same direction. People tell you, don't ask anybody about money. Women will pretend like money doesn't matter. Of course, money matters. For you guys that you buy everything, I make my own wigs. Of course, I still have to buy the hair. Even though I make my own money, when I got married, it was our money. A lot of Nigerian women will be building houses in Nigeria. Their husbands won't even know. Femi Babalola, how are you? I have a lot of friends that built homes in Nigeria. Their husbands didn't know. And then they croaked in America. Their husbands still today does not know that they have houses in Lekki till today. Their husbands don't know that they have shopping malls in Ibadan till today because they did not disclose to their partners. Why are you getting married if you don't trust your partner with money? That's one question somebody's got to answer for me. Why are you dating you can date anybody, but why are you looking for a life partnership in somebody that you cannot trust with your money? And a lot of times people continue to say, oh, Moji, my money is my money. Her money is her money. It's like, wait. Anything that happens to you happens to your partner. That's the way it works. In America, I don't know about Nigeria, but in America, in most states, it's community property. So if your husband is buying a house, let's say in Missouri, if he's married, you own part of it. So whatever debt your partner incurs when you get hitched now becomes your debt. Believe it or not. So if I step out and go buy a house for $1 million without telling my wife about it, my wife is responsible for that $1 million debt because we're in a 50-50 state. Granted, in some states, the mortgage, the partner is allowed to take the mortgage in their names and your name can be on the deed. But let's take this deed thing. When you're married to someone, make sure your name is on the deed. I cannot tell you enough about that one because I made that dumb mistake many years ago, and my children and I ended up becoming homeless. There's a story that was trending last week where a young woman that's on social media, that's an entrepreneur and all that stuff, was dating a married man, and the guy gifted her a house. But the house that was gifted to this person is in the company name. You don't own that house, honey. The house belongs to the company. So you want to make sure that when you're gifted something As in, if you're not married, because once you become married in most civilized countries, I don't know about Nigeria again, everything you own is community property. In some states, anything that you own before you get married belongs to you. As in, if you own a house before you marry Shukra, then the house belongs to you. But the day you marry Shukra, and if you marry Shukra and tomorrow you close on a house, you now both own the property. This young woman lived in the house for 10 years. The family of the man is now having her evicted because she doesn't own the house. The house belongs to the company. The company is community. The house belongs to the company, and the company now reverts back to the wife. And she's been in Nigerian second wife for over 10 years. A lot of wives know that the side chicks are there and they say nothing. In my country, side chicken is not even side chicken. If you've been with somebody for long enough, you're considered a second wife. Key thing is to be the legal, you have to have documentation that says that you own these things. So if you're dating a man that has a legal wife, you need to make sure that your name is on the cars, your name is on the bank account, your name is on every bloody thing. Everything. So if your name is not on it, you don't own it. In real estate, we say if papers are not signed, though, you're not getting paper, which basically means if you don't have documents signed, you are not the owner and you are not entitled to anything. Now, a lot of women are running around saying, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. Marriage is just a piece of paper. Let me tell you, honey, marriage is not just a piece of paper. I'll be the first one to tell you that because I used to believe that. Marriage protects you legally from a whole lot of shiggity out there. Now, money is not the only reason. Financial status is not the only reason you should get married, though. That's why I coined some people money sexual. Some people have children to tie themselves financially to another person. That's stupid, but whatever works for you, shuku to you. When you are not married, you are not entitled to jack. Your child is entitled to child support, yes. But you personally are not entitled to anything. If you're married to someone, a man or a woman, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight or crooked, again, the laws are the same. The same laws that govern straight people in countries where marriage is legal governs heterosexuals. Now, if you live in a country where homosexuality is not legal and you're in a relationship with a homosexual person, make sure that you have something called durable power of attorney. Make sure that you have something called power of attorney that blankets everything. Make sure that your partner makes a will, leaving every damn pin to you, or else when your partner dies, you will be kicked out of the home that you own and have paid for. If you're gay, you have no legal standing in most countries. But make sure again that your family member, that people know that you guys are together, so that when it goes to court, you have documentation stating that you are you have legal rights to the properties, the homes, the bank accounts, the stocks, the bonds, the this, the that. Make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. Make sure, please, that all the documentations are make sure I was thrown away by that. Make sure that all the all your homes are in both names. If you are gay and you're not married, you must have documentation stating, I repeat, you must have a will that states that you are getting everything. You must have your will that says that the house is going to you. And make sure that if you're a married heterosexual, that the house is taken you take a deed in both names, and make sure that you state in the deed what would happen if the person dies. For instance, I have 4 children. My wife came into the relationship with no children. I have 50%, according to the law, interest in everything we own. When I die, if I did not make a will, my wife will get 0. My children will get the 50% that belongs to me of our estate. Am I clear? So you need to make documentations, heterosexual, if you're straight, gay, or crooked, it doesn't matter. The only time that this happens, this does not happen, is if you are both biological parents of the children, right? Legal documentation, make sure your name is on the deed of all houses, make sure you're speaking to your partner on a regular basis about where you're going. When people go into business, they create a financial plan. I've never heard any of my friends talking about creating a financial plan for their relationship. Where are we going? A lot of people are looking at other people asking, oh my God, how do they do the things they do? Because most of us have financial plans. We have a 5-year goal. Even in our home, we have a 6-month goal. Every 2 years we revisit, because I buy houses and I flip them. My wife does what she does, and we bring everything into the same pot. But there's going to be times where the income fluctuates, but because we have a standard, what is mine is yours and what is yours is mine, we know that we both have to work together. I don't buy Louis Vuitton bags. I don't buy fancy things or expensive. I buy Louis Vuitton bags. I don't pay full price for them. So, we have a plan. When you have a plan, it's like a roadmap. It's like a navigation system that tells you between age 10 and 15, this is where we want to be. In 5 years' time, this is what we want to be doing. Right when 5 years ago, I was driving a foot wagon, and I said, foot wagon, for those of you guys that don't know, is my feet. Because I sold my Mercedes-Benz, about 2011, about almost 9 years ago. I knew that I had to go from point A to B. I sat in front of a financial planner, and the financial planner says to me, Moji, you're driving a Mercedes-Benz, the insurance is high, gas was $5 a gallon in those days, and more. If you got rid of your car, I thought the woman was nuts. You could save almost $600 a month between insurance, gas, and this. And I'm looking at it going, wait, the real estate market has crashed. My financial planner sat with me and said, if you get rid of the car, this is how much you've saved. If you get rid of this is honey, I sold the Mercedes-Benz, bought a bicycle. People were laughing at me, but it helped me to save a lot of money to the point where I was not begging and scrapping for everything, because of a real estate market crash. I sold my Mercedes-Benz, bought a bicycle, not a motorcycle, a keke in America. And I rode that for 2 years until I was able to start driving another car. So for you guys that are out there, we all have to start to cut our coat according to our fabric, not our size. Because if you're too fat and you only have 2 yards, you need to lose weight. That's what it means by trimming the fat. Trimming the fat, I'm in a position in my life right now, my wife and I are in a position where we can buy anything we want, knock on wood, except a private plane. Nobody wants that. I don't want that anyways. It's just bloody expense you don't need. But the bottom point I'm trying to make is that when you start to do financial planning with your partner, you start to realize, oh, look, if we want to go on vacation 5 times a year, we can't be going to Shukura's party where they take Ashodi for $750. We can wear jeans and t-shirt, or we can wear what we have in the house. We're not going to run out and buy gele every time there's a party, because some people go to 10 parties a month. If you assume that 10 parties a month, you go to 10 parties a month, every gele and ekpele is $100. Multiply that, that's $1,000. That's $12,000 a year you're spending on to go to parties. That $12,000 a year, you can take that money and invest it in something. You can invest it in stock. You can take that money and buy a rental property that will definitely yield profits. That rental property will be your retirement plan. Because let me tell you, if you own your business, you know what I'm talking about when I say we don't have a 401k, except for the ones that we create for ourselves. If you're looking to retire at the age of 65, you should be making solid plans now. I'm not a financial analyst, and I'm definitely not a financial planner. So you need to go and sit in front of a financial planner and have them give you a roadmap between you and your partner of where you're going. The topic is relationships and money. Money is not a bad thing. Money is not a bad thing. Please, when people tell you that money is a bad thing, it's not a bad thing to talk about. You must talk about money. A lot of people have been divorced because they did not talk about money. They didn't know the partner's wealth. They didn't know their partner's credit. They didn't know jack about their partner. The partner had no money in the bank. They didn't know. So you need to talk about money. You need to understand where money is. Olufisola says legal documentation from 2 gay people in Nigeria. How is that archived and where it's legal? Okay, what you do is you don't talk. You don't need to put it in there that you're 2 gay people. I can wake up in the morning and put my housekeeper in the will. I can put my gardener in the will. I can put anything. My dog is in our will to be taken care of. You don't have to disclose that this is my gay lover. You just put my house goes to Shukra in case I die, if you're gay in Nigeria, or my car goes to Temedu if you're gay in Nigeria. You don't have to say because you're my wife. You don't need to explain anything to anybody. Your lawyer you don't even have to tell your lawyer you're gay lovers. You just tell your lawyer, I want this to go to that person and this to go to that person. I could did anything I want to anybody. It's legal all across the world. Does that answer? I hope that answers your question. So a lot of Nigerians, gay, LGBTQ people are walking around like they have no rights. You have rights until you get married. The same gender, the law says you cannot. Let me break this law down to people, by the way it was broken down to me by 3 different lawyers about this gay issue in Nigeria. Nigeria is not saying you can't be a lesbian. They're not saying you can't be gay. They're saying you cannot be caught having homosexual sex and PDA. So you can do whatever you want behind your closed doors as long as nobody rats you out. That's number 1. And there's no law in there because women, we don't sodomize each other. So technically, if a lesbian person wants to sue the country because of the law, they can. I was going to do it. That's how I know you can. But I have to be a resident of Nigeria to do such a thing. I cannot just be a citizen. I found out that you can sue as a lesbian woman because the law does not cover us. The law only covers the men, just so you know. But the law also says you cannot marry the same gender. It did not say you cannot deed your house to the same gender. So that's that. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is men. Men. If you're a guy and you can hear me, it's very important. And if you're a lesbian or whatever, it's important. But this is directed at heterosexual men. You cannot meet a person and start the date off here and then think you're going to drop it down. It doesn't work. Stop leading with your money. Stop leading with how much money you can give a woman. Stop leading a relationship because a lot of Nigerians think, well, the Nigerian mentality is that money kills everything. Money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. People are. So if a man meets a woman and he wants to take her out, and instead of taking her out to eat, to get to know her, he takes her to the most expensive restaurant in the whole country or flies her to Dubai on the first date, you just set the precedent for the rest of your dates and the rest of your relationship. My first dates are usually very simple. We have dinner online. I'm going to talk to you, an interview. It's a job interview. A date is a job interview. A date, you don't interview somebody and give them the job and then give them a raise right there and then, right? You don't elevate a clerk to the freaking store manager in 24 hours. You don't do that. So a lot of Nigerian men or African men in general, they like to show their money first. And because a lot of women are money sexuals in Nigeria, it seems like, and that's the way people go. But get to know a person first. Take them out to the soccer team. If you're going out on a date, take any girl that goes out with you to watch football, to go to the park for a walk, to go to a buka, is a keeper. Am I making sense? Is a keeper. Same thing goes for lesbian people. LGBTQ people. Stop coming first with how much money you have. Stop doing that, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for many sexuals. The way my wife walks around in simple all black clothing, you would never even know who she is. She doesn't talk about herself. I do. She doesn't talk about herself. I do. But point I'm trying to make is, if you're not flashing your money, then you don't attract money sexuals. If all you do is talk about how much, I remember somebody called me up for a date one time and says, oh, I can buy you a car. I'm like, hell no, I don't want your car, because then you're buying me. You're buying me. You don't know who I am. You've never spoken to me. One of the reasons why I always said in my shows, if you notice, I will not date anybody that doesn't have their own. I didn't even put myself on the market to start dating until I got myself together. Why? Because what you are is what you attract. A lot of women are sitting out there saying, I want a millionaire. Honey, where are you going to meet? in your bathroom or in Yaba Market. You have to put yourself in places where you do meet those millionaires. You have to make sure that you are ready. You have to, if you want somebody that plays golf, you yourself must go and play golf. You'll meet that person. If you want somebody that plays tennis, you'll probably meet a date on the tennis court before you meet them online, because there's no way you'll know if they play tennis or don't play tennis. So be exactly what you're looking for. Look, if you're here and you're dating somebody here, you can either help to pull them up, but they have to be willing to come up, or you have to go down to meet them. A lot of us have made that mistake when we were younger and we married for the wrong reasons. See, when you fall in love, you lose your senses, right? But when you walk into love, honey, your common sense is intact. You can see. You have a panoramic view of what's going on. And when I say when you walk in love, that means have conversations with the people that you're dating. Be authentic and truthful. Don't show your whole cards in 2 days. You're dating somebody, oh, you've told them how much money you have in the bank. You've told them how many cars you have. You've told them that, you told them that. All you're doing is attracting money sexuals. You study the person. Money is one of the most important reasons people fall apart. See, I tell people all the time, they think I'm crazy. My ex-husband, when I met him, I told him, I'm like, I think I'm gay. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gay. He's like, don't worry about it. For him, he was cool with it because, look, Moji was a workaholic. I was number one in real estate on Staten Island. Of course, I was very attractive. It doesn't matter if I was gay and I wasn't going to do the jiggy like that. But he came into the relationship already seeing everything I had. So for him, it was cool. For me, when he was doing his jagujantis outside, it didn't bother me. It wasn't until he started to steal money from the businesses that I said, hey, we don't know. Right? And I wasn't feeling 110% myself about my life and my choices. So I had to become accountable for my life. No excuses. When you suffer from stupiditis, own it. But try until you own that mistake, especially for those of us that are going into relationships after failed marriages and failed relationships or failed lives in some cases like mine. You have to understand that until you start to love yourself, until you start to hold yourself, love yourself enough to hold yourself accountable for your part in the things that happen, you can't change. So money is very important in relationships. Not that somebody should have money or not have money. That's an individual thing. There's some people that are givers. They just want to take care of other people. And there are people that are takers. But you have to know which spectrum you fall on to be able to find the person that fits you. My father used to say every head has a hat, right? But you have to know the circumference of your head so you can find the hat that fits it. Don't claim you want a super fantastic, wonderful person and not be a good person yourself. Right? Don't make yourself a victim of situations by not understanding your own financial status. If you own your mistakes, no one can use them against you. Shuku to you, darling Angela. Shuku, double shuku self. You know, you got to own your mistakes. And when you own your mistakes, that's when you're able to learn from it. I don't sit here and just blabber about the stupid things I've done in the past. It's because I'm trying to use it to help other people to get from point A to B and hopefully not make the same mistakes. Because I'm a realtor of many, many years. I have the certificates. Number 1, Century 21 system in Staten Island, 2 years in a row. And yet I bought a house and I didn't put my name on it. Yeah, because New York State is not like every other state. In New York State, if you buy a house, there's no law that in one person's name and you're married, there's no law that says you must get a signature like a lot of other states. So my name wasn't on the thing. When I said, look, I need to go out and live my authentic life. You already had kids outside. You're doing your own thing. Shuku to you. Here's 8 houses. I'm going to keep the house. The guy sold it. Yeah. I'm pulled out $250,000. The deal was pay the mortgage, $900 and something, and I will let you go slide with the $2,000 a month he was supposed to pay me. Honey, he didn't pay child support, he didn't pay the mortgage. Knock, knock, knock. That's how I found out. Why? Because I did not have any financial intelligence in those days. I didn't pay attention to details. I was busy running around doing real estate, because I was running away from my gay self. So I kept myself so busy to the point that I didn't even have time to leave. You know? So a lot of times people are not paying attention to details. You have to pay attention to details. You have to ask if they have a life insurance. You have to make sure they have death insurance. In America, death insurance pays for your funeral. Some people, I hate it. The most despicable thing in the world is to know somebody that's very comfortable and then they die and people are in my inbox begging for money. It's like, why? If I want to give you money, it's not a big deal. But this thing where Nigerians, somebody dies and then you start begging for money to go and bury them, we all know we're going to die. Why don't you have burial insurance again? If I want to donate money to a family because I feel like it, shuku to me. But don't beg for money when you can do life insurance for less than $10 a month. Those are the reasons why I keep saying, sit in front of a financial planner. Mr. Ojekere says, what those of us already married and into it, or would you say divorce is the way out? I don't understand that question, sir. Would you like to come in, Mr. Ojekere? I can send you an invitation if you want, but I don't understand your question. One second. What those of us already married and into it, or would you say divorce is the way out, sir? You're asking me, I think what you're asking me is, Mr. Ojekere, inbox me, please, so I can send you the invitation. Inbox me, I'll send you the invitation to come to the show, to come into the show. Because this question is very important. I think Mr. Ojekere is saying, what should those of them that are already in the marriage do? Or would I say divorce is the way out? My answer to you, sir, will be, if you're in a relationship with somebody that you can work with, it doesn't matter what stage you're in. You need to pull the reins and sit down, invite the person to a sit down, get a glass of wine, get them a glass of ogogoro, whatever it is that tickles you both your fancies, right? And ask the person to come in and sit with the person, or send your wife my video so that your wife or your husband, whatever it is that you are, will be able to see or hear the conversation. Sit with your wife, sir, or your partner, and talk to your partner about these very conversations that we're having. Talk about life insurance, sir. It's very important that we all have it. You want to leave something behind for the people that you're leaving behind. You don't want them to be homeless. You don't want them to be stuck. Make sure, Nigerians don't like to talk about wills. If you tell somebody, go talk to your wife, you're trying to kill me, oh my God. No, we're trying to make sure, especially Nigerians, where when you get married to somebody and you die, they come in African culture, they come in and try and take everything away. So you want to make sure that you have a will. And if you don't have one before, sir, you definitely, oh my God. I'm in a bad, you need to call me and we'll talk. You're in a bad marriage now. I have a child and I don't want to pull out because of the child. Mr. Ojekere, my heart bleeds for you. But I will tell you something very important. If you're in a bad marriage, it's not good for your child to see that you're in a bad marriage, because you're teaching your child that it's okay to be in a bad marriage. You should pull out. It's going to cost you, especially if you're legally married, but you should pull out because you have a right to happiness, even if it's by yourself. When I pulled out of my marriage, sir, I had 4 children. I have 4 children. I gave my ex-husband 8 houses in exchange for 4 children. I lost so much money for my freedom. But look at where I am today. I am happily married to the love of my life. Yes, is our life perfect? Of course it's not. I get dragged every other day on blogs and stuff. But I gave myself in 2006, when I walked out of my old relationship, I gave myself an opportunity at a second chance at real love. See, when your hand is like this and you're holding on tight, sir, to something, nothing is able to come in and nothing leaves. When you let go of the past, of a bad relationship, of an abusive relationship, even a great relationship that's not fulfilling to you, sir, you're giving yourself the opportunity to experience real, true, authentic love. I cannot tell you to leave, but you have to make that choice that your happiness, your life, your joy is worth more to you. And your children will, if you ask your child, When I left my old relationship, you know what my son said to me? I was wondering when you were going to leave because none of you guys were happy. The boy was 10. My oldest daughter said, thank God. My younger daughter said, thank God. I'd rather you guys are separated and happy. Only one child wanted us to stay together for our son's fantasy. But now he understands it because he's older. So, Mr. Ojekere, my personal opinion, I'm not a shrink, but I'm a certified life coach. And I have experienced a lot in my short life of 55 years, sir. You will not get authentic, real love, sir, if you stay in a bad relationship. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be free. Make sure that you get your finances in order. Make sure that you are fair to your ex-wife. You know, as in, if you guys have been together for a long time and you built your wealth together, make sure that you give her what is fair, right? And I tell people, when I tell my story about writing off 8 houses to my ex-husband, I'm going to tell you right now, that was the most stupid thing I did. My lawyer is on my page and he advised me against it. But after dragging the case back and forth for about 6-7 years, I was tired. The same way I was in court. The man owes me $95,000 in child support today. I had to choose joy, happiness, nights where I can sleep over $95,000 because today I have the certificate. I have the paper that says he owes me $95,000. So I could have still been in court. They could have sent him to jail. They could have done a lot of things, but I was tired. I was newly married. I wanted peace. So the $95,000 is on paper, but I don't have it in my hands. And I'll probably never get it, but time is the most valuable thing in life. Time you cannot get back. Time you cannot reproduce, and time you cannot buy. So that $95,000 would have cost me 2 years of happiness with my wife. So I chose for peace. I chose that. So, Mr. Ojekere, you need to choose yourself over anybody else. When you love yourself and you choose yourself, your children will learn to choose themselves. Your children will be proud of you. You just open yourself to the whole world to bring you good things. If I had stayed where I was, I won't be a jewelry designer. I won't be making bags. I won't be doing all the fabulous things. I have traveled to so many countries. Before I was stuck. I couldn't grow. Once I left that little pot, I was able to expand. I would never be who I am today if I had stayed in the closet. The price is going to be very, very high, but it'll be worth it. Feel free to inbox me, sir. You and I need to chat on a one-on-one. My wife and I will tell you stories that would make your ears smoke. Life is to be lived. Life is to be lived. And I learned a lot from Tony Robbins, Iyanla Vanzant, a lot of life coaches out there. Their books, I am like a sponge. I take information. I don't just come out here and talk about things I know nothing about. My life is a testimony of the amazing grace of God, but also the amazing grace of making choices that are sometimes the hardest in that moment, but the hardest. You see, when the fruit is all the way on top, those are the best fruits, right? The rotten ones are usually on the floor. So people think, oh, my relationship is fabulous, honey. It's because half the time you guys are not, a lot of people walk around with blinders. They're not looking at the truth. They're not speaking in truth, right? When you start to speak in truth with your partner and you start to have those hard conversations about money, about your will, about family, about children, that's another story. That's another show. Children, they can break your relationships like that. 70% of marriages are destroyed because of children. See, when you have somebody that comes into a relationship without children, that person is coming into the relationship by themselves. Now you are coming, people like me that came in with 4. Now there's 5 of us coming into this relationship against one person, and we're all expected to carry all the weight equally. But if my wife and I never sat down and said, what is yours is mine and mine is yours, imagine how that would go. Because there's a lot of relationships where People, mine is mine and yours is yours, and the guy just gives you half of the rent. Black Americans do that a lot, or American people do that a lot. The guy, your husband only pays half the rent, pays half the bills, and half the this and half the that, and then the day you're short, it become that. You have to negotiate before you get married. You have to negotiate before you become a life partner. You have to negotiate. Negotiations is everything in my book. My wife and I have been married 4 years. Every 2 years, actually, at the end of every year, we sit down and say, okay, where do you want to go next year? What do you want to do next year? My wife, I go to her and say, what? And we trade things off. 1 year we might do something I want to do. Next year you do something she wants to do. You know, we're all very creative people in this house. Music, piano, drums, all that. So I have my studio where I make all these crazy things. My wife has a music room with the piano, the guitar, the this, the that, the that, shekere, and all kinds of madness. But I have my own little Zen area. I call it my studio. So when you learn to negotiate and compromise, you have an amazing relationship. You have an amazing sex life. You have an amazing, I'm not saying we don't argue or we argue. We don't fight what we argue. Because Mujikwa comes out once in a while, and then she has her own little things that she doesn't like things this way and I like it that way. We're human beings. But when you're open and transparent, even a fight can end up being one of the best things of the day, because, you know, you make up. Get my point? But be open, be transparent, have conversations. 3 things I want you to take away from the show today. Always be open with your partner. If you're not happy in the relationship you're in, I'm not advocating for divorce. I'm saying leave. Leave. If you've seen a therapist and you have tried to make it work and it's not working, you got to leave, because you are so valuable. Your life, your happiness, your joy is the most important thing ever, because when the head is not correct, the rest of the body doesn't work well, right? Now, when it comes to finances, make sure that you disclose to your partner where you are on the financial scale. Make sure you know the FICO score of your partner if you're in America, because somebody with bad credit is going to destroy your life. Because if you want to buy a house, you can't. If you want to buy cars, you can't. Even cell phone, you can't get a good rate with a cell phone when somebody has bad credit. And I'm not saying don't date people with bad credit. Honey, my credit was so bad, you couldn't buy coffee across the street. And coffee is only 99 cents, right? So, but at least when you disclose it, you guys can work together to rebuild it or build it or whatever. Be honest with yourself. What do I mean by that? Don't spend money that's coming in. Spend only a percentage of the money that's there. Do not spend money that is coming in. People will be spending money that they're looking to make. What if you don't make it? Look at coronavirus in 2020. For me, that flips. I buy houses. I say we, but that's my business. I'm a realtor. Buy houses, fix it up and sell it. If I had projected all the money that was supposed to come in since January when coronavirus hit, we would have been bankrupt in this house. So make sure you're saving 15% of your money in a savings account for a rainy day. But you both have to be able to communicate with each other. Trim the fat. When you get older and you have money in places, then you can start traveling the world. A lot of young kids look at me and say, Auntie Moji, I want a life like yours. I laugh and say, are you willing to pay the price? See, everything comes with a price. Are you willing to have walked on stones, on glass, on coal in 150-degree weather like I did? Are you willing to ride a bicycle for 2 years? Are you willing to be homeless to learn your lessons? Or are you going to go and get books and start studying now while you're young? Stop looking at everybody else's clock and start designing your own life. Because what works for Moji might not work for you. But one thing is for sure, if you're not financially intelligent, you can make all the money in the world. If you don't know what to do with it, you're going to end up old and broke. Look at all those Nigerian movie stars. They get to be 60, 70, and people are doing GoFundMe for doctors' bills. What did they do with all the money they made in 19 Bogboro? Think about it. A lot of people are in marriages with their enemies. A lot of wives are stealing. They're stealing money. $1,000 here, $1,000 there, shipping it to Nigeria where they'll never live. A friend of mine that did that upped and died. And only 5 of us know that she's been stealing her husband's money for many, many years. She built a mansion in Lekki. You would think it was a hotel. She doesn't live there. She was just stashing money away. Imagine. And then she dies. Her family knows about the house, but they didn't tell the husband here. Imagine. So before you go into a relationship, people, before you decide this is going to be the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, make sure you have the conversations. 3 things. What is your financial status like? Financial status includes their bank accounts. Not that you will need everything in the bank account, but anybody, for me, if there's no transparency, I don't want it, because that's not my kind of relationship. So for you, you might be one of those people that what is yours and what is mine is mine. Shuku to you. Do what works for you. I have no beef with you. But for those people that are looking for a relationship, a real, true, honest partnership, which is what I have. A partnership means you both have the same goal. Maybe not the same goals at the same time, but you're both working at a common goal. Because I have my goal, my wife has hers, and then we have our goals, right? Our goals. Our goals, this is how we're going to get there. This is how we're going to get there. We have a joint account, and she has her money, I have my money. And then she has play money, I call it, so that if I want to buy her a surprise gift, she doesn't have, don't have to go and say, oh, this is what I'm doing. No, she has her play money, I have mine, and then we have a pot, right? The reason we do it that way is not because she doesn't trust me or I don't trust her. That's why we have separate play money. But if I want to buy her whatever, I don't want to have to go and ask her. But before we buy anything from that joint account, we talk to each other about it. And my wife is lucky, because by the time I was ready for dating, all that stuff that I used to do in the past was gone. So now I know my priorities, because they say if you didn't chop 10 days ago, you now have to appreciate food, right? So that's what happened with me. But with you guys, when you start thinking of getting married, please make sure that you ask your partner their financial status. How is your credit? How are you with money? And be very blunt. People are good with money, some people are not. Me, I'm good at making money. I'm not good at a lot of things, paperwork and all that stuff. So you have to own. Look, knowing yourself is the most valuable gift you can give yourself. FICO score, how's your credit score? You need to disclose that to each other. When you get married, you should have a joint account. Because in America, whatever bill you have belongs to your partner. Whatever bill they have belongs to you. So you should have a joint account where all the common bills are being paid for. And in my opinion, everybody should have their own play money. So if you want to surprise your partner by taking them to a hotel, when you swipe the card, they don't see it on their bills and stuff. You can still do fun, crazy things that makes the jiggy very good. So that's another thing. Number 2 is, once you get married, make sure you visit a financial planner, or you guys go online and figure it out and say, oh, this is how much we need to save so we can buy this house. And this is what we need to do. This is how many rental properties we need to make, or we need to have, so that the rental property income subsidizes our own income. This is how many vacations we want to go out on for a year. This is how much money we need. This is how we need to get there. You got to have a roadmap financially to get to the promised land. Nobody becomes Darosha overnight. Dangote did not become Dangote overnight. It's because he had common sense to start thinking about the future. It's because he had common sense to take chances and make the proper investments. Integrity and a moral compass that's not broken will serve you a very long way. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't born with it in my mouth. Like a typical Niger, we used to take a shortcut. So along the way, I started to learn. And it's never too late to learn. Integrity is big in my life. People call me Louise. I'm not going to sit here and cheat Angela Oliver. I'm not going to sit here and cheat Mr. Ojitere. I'm not going to do anything to make him get less than what he deserves, because I believe in karma. So when you're in a love ship with your partner, remember that whatever happens to them happens to you. Full disclosure is important. If the Queen of England wants to marry Baba Shukura, That's fine. Just understand what value Baba Shukura brings to the table that will help your ship to become solid. Don't believe that BS lie that people tell you, oh, money is not important. Honey, money is very important. Money is important in a relationship. When you're younger, you can afford to build with somebody. When you hit your 30 and your 40 and you already have, if you go and bring a leech into your life, they bring no value. They'll just keep sucking your money and sucking everything dry. That's my opinion. I never in my life will I date if I wasn't married, I wasn't planning on dating a jobless person again in my life, because I've done that in the past. I've done that, wrote the book. It didn't matter to me who you are. That's what I used to say, or what you are. By the time I was I think I was 49 when I made the list of the things I wanted in a partner. They had to have their own. Notice I didn't say I wanted rich. They had to have their own. They had to be lesbian and out. They had to be Nigerian woman. They had to be single. I wasn't dating anybody married. And they had to be spiritual. I didn't ask for much. 5 things, query. And God now gave me 1,000 plus. Because what I wanted was grounded in integrity. A lot of people, women are running around looking for a husband. I want a husband. I want a rich husband. Honey, a rich husband is hush puppy. He's in jail. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. A rich husband is hush puppy. A rich husband is what's his name? Buhari. He has like God knows how many wives and girlfriends. Maybe it's because I grew up with my father though, because I've always been taught to value myself and to bring something to the table. You want someone that brings something to it, even if she sells a car on the street. At least she has a value. She understands the value of a job. She understands the value of hard work. And people think you need 10 degrees to be intelligent. No, you don't. You just, look, the most intelligent woman I've ever met in my life did not attend 1 single day of school. The woman was more cultured than most people that have triple PhDs. She had more common sense than anybody I had ever met in my life. Look around you. Ask yourself, what am I surrounded by? A lot of you have 10,000 Facebook friends. You don't have people that tell you the truth. A lot of you have 10,000 Facebook friends. When you get a headache, there's nobody to call. Think about it. That's a whole nother show. Today's show is on finance and relationships, money and relationships. Money is not a dirty word. Money is something that we all need in our lives. How do you think it's kind of cool to jump on the plane and go to Mexico for a weekend? It takes money. But when you have money, what you do with the money is more important than having the money, because your money should be making you money. I repeat, your money should be making you money, but you want to be with somebody that gets that concept. You want to be with somebody that you are financially yoked, somebody that understands who you are, what you stand for, and where you want to go. My name is Mojisola Wilson. And yes, this is Authentic Conversations with Moji. Do me a favor and share the video. Tell your friends we're here. Mondays and Fridays, definitely. The show will be on, usually at 10 a.m. Sometimes I'll get a show I have to get out of my system, right? But do me a favor, share the video. We have to start to educate each other. Have the conversations with your friends on your page. Talk about these things. Money is not a dirty word, like we've been told for many, many years. Trust me. You will do better, have a better life if you have the courage to have authentic conversations with your partner. One day we'll talk about sex and how fabulous it is in a relationship. This is Mojisola Wilson. May tomorrow be better than today. And thank you for giving me the time to do this. This is like therapy. Namaste.